although we know the things to do, we may even know how to do the things, there can be this weariness, this sense of struggle. It's actually funny. So often I'll walk through a little mini version of what I'm coming to talk to you about, just as a little refresher from the Lord of just like, hey, you know this place. Stay teachable. Make sure that you can serve well, because here's a little bite of what you're trying to talk about. And so just before recording this episode, I said, okay, I need this block of time to get the podcast recorded to do a couple other things that we've got going, which let me just note, I've got a special surprise for you at the end of this conversation. And so do not miss it. Fast forward to the end if you want to, but I have something I want to share with you.
Welcome to Overwhelmed to Overcomer podcast with coach, encourager, and strategist Anna McLaughlin. If you're a Christian woman who has big dreams rooted in an even bigger God, but most days those dreams feel completely out of reach, trust me, I get it. As a homeschooling mama of 4, entrepreneur, investor, and all-around wearer of many hats, I am right there with you. And yet the Lord invites us to live out our God-given purpose now in the midst of the madness. So let's explore together how we can know our calling and walk in it today with clarity, with courage, with each other. It's time for you to live the life you love and love the life you live. Let's do this thing.
Hey, friend. I'm so glad you're here. I know this might sound weird because you don't necessarily, we don't necessarily know each other in real life. Maybe we do, but I just have to say, when I get on here, I smile thinking about you. Like, I just have you in mind when we have these conversations, and I want to thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk today. So I'm realizing in getting ready for this episode that I've given you a lot of here are the thoughts, here are the ideas for how we live this life. Oh, we want to be faithful. We want to be faithful to the Lord so much. We want to enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Oh, now I'm on the Bible verse with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. But what I was going to say is we want to enter into his gates at the end of our lives and hear that benediction. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over more. Enter into the joy of your master. We want to hear that. And yet, and yet, although we know the things to do, we may even know how to do the things, there can be this weariness, this sense of struggle. It's actually funny. So often I'll walk through a little mini version of what I'm coming to talk to you about, just as a little refresher from the Lord of just like, hey, you know this place. Stay teachable. Make sure that you can serve well, because here's a little bite of what you're trying to talk about. And so just before recording this episode, I said, okay, I need this block of time to get the podcast recorded to do a couple other things that we've got going, which let me just note, I've got a special surprise for you at the end of this conversation. And so do not miss it. Fast forward to the end if you want to, but I have something I want to share with you. I want to give you the meat first before we go into that. Okay. So, so just before that, I'm like, I know what I need to do. And then first we go to the grocery store, and the grocery store trip took longer than planned. And there were issues with one of the kids who came and helped me at the store, and then had to talk to Brian and that kid about that issue, and then had to put all the food away so it didn't spoil, and then had to wrangle some laundry drama that you would not have expected would come up on a Monday afternoon, but there it was. And I started to kind of feel some feelings. And I just, shared with my husband, I'm like, I feel so discouraged. Like, I just want to be able to keep my commitments. We set this block of time aside. We knew when it was going to be, and it's just getting eaten away, just eaten away. We know what to do. We know how to do it. And then there's life. All this life. A friend of mine once said, whatever stage of life we're in, there's just so much of it. Maybe there's too much silence in your life right now. Maybe there's too much noise in your life right now. Too much need, not enough people needing you. It's too quiet. It's too empty. There's no place to put your hands and set them to work. So I'm going to speak to that place where our hearts just need a little support. We need a little help. And then I've got Just a thought. And you're going to know if this is for you or not. Okay? An offer for you. Okay? So, first of all, let's talk about this place. And there's such a beautiful passage that I just want to read because I think sometimes we read the scriptures and we're like, oh, Paul, John, Peter, Mark, Luke, all Matthew, all these guys, they're like, these are these are the guys, right? They walked with Jesus. And I like Wes Huff calls them the duh disciples, like duh, they're just not getting it. They have no idea where they are in history. This thing that they've waited for as a people for millennia is now here and they have no idea. There's this great Dave Barry was a comedian my dad really liked, and in like the 90s, and he used to describe he had like a book about just guys, guys being like it was not a very complimentary book, guys being ridiculous or whatever, and he talked about how a man in a relationship is like an ant standing on top of a tire with no earthly sense of where he is until the tire moves and moves and moves and moves and then he's squished. And that's what it's like for a guy that's in a relationship. Oh, are we in a relationship? Oh, what's that like? Which, of course, shout out to all the good men out there, of which there are so many who don't think like that at all. But I thought that was hysterical. So here are the disciples, no idea where they really are. And we can the words of scripture become so familiar to us that we can lose this sense of um, humanity that comes in. And so I want to read you this passage. And I just want to offer, if you're in this place, to be so sweet to yourself. Like this is just part of the human experience. And the Lord is meeting you here, where it's like, I know what to do. I know how to do it, maybe even, sometimes not. And sometimes we don't even know what to do. Can we just be honest for a second? But like that, whether it's discouragement or weariness or confusion or just time struggles or organization challenges or whatever it is, we just start to feel a little lost in our own lives and then can creep in this sense of struggle or of need, just reliance. And so I want you to hear Paul talking to Timothy. And if I remember correctly, this is either one of the last letters he ever wrote or the last letter he ever wrote. And he says this to his friend. Do your best to come. So I just want you to think about that place of needing someone, needing some support, whether it's strategic support, whether it's more heart support. Do your best to come to me soon. For Demas, in love with this present world, sorry, and I'm in 2 Timothy 4, starting in verse 9. Do your best to come to me soon, for Demas, in love with this present world, has deserted me and gone to Thessalonica. Crescens has gone to Galatia, Titus to Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. Get Mark and bring him with you, for he is useful in my ministry. I have sent Tychicus to Ephesus. When you come, bring the cloak that I left with Carpus at Troas, also the books, and above all, the parchments. Alexander the coppersmith did me great harm. The Lord will pay him back for his deeds. You also must beware of him, for he strongly opposed our message. At my first defense, no one came to my support, but all deserted me. May it not be counted against them. But the Lord stood by me and gave me strength, so that through me the message might be fully proclaimed, and all the Gentiles might hear it. So I was rescued from the lion's mouth. The Lord will rescue me from every evil attack and save me for his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. Amen. Greet Prisca and Aquila and the household of Onesiphorus. Erastus remained in Corinth. Trophimus I left ill in Miletus. Do your best to come before winter. And then he wraps up the letter, and that's it. I just think about that. Do your best to come to me before winter. Sometimes we just need, as a friend of mine used to say, someone with skin on. We need that face-to-face support. And I just want to encourage you because sometimes I think we get this elevated idea of how it's supposed to be. And there are a few different things that I think about in this realm. There's a few different places I think that we find ourselves. The first is we may not know what to do. We're just kind of struggling with the too muchness of it all. It was so funny. I was on the phone with a friend the other day. Actually, I guess we were texting back and forth. And she was talking about just like everything feels like this big tangle, and I'm not really sure what to do, and I'm not really sure how to tend to it, what comes next, or anything like that. And I provided some feedback, and it was so interesting to hear her response because she was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I see that." But when we're in the middle, so I think about there are some designs like jewelry and stuff like that, where if you look at it from the side, it looks all kind of scraggly and interwoven and tangled. And then maybe you elevate and you look from up above, and all of a sudden you can see it's a perfect circle. It's just a different angle, right? And when we're in the middle of the thing ourself, it can look like a tangled mess. We don't know which way is up. We don't know where to start. Sometimes I'll get on the phone with my husband and I'm like, there's this problem, and I'm da 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 da, like I'm overloaded. And he's like, okay, how about you just take a nap? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, close the door, tell the kids, set a timer, which parenting hack, if you're not using timers with your children, that changed the story for us. When the timer goes beep, 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 here's what we do, here's what we're doing. Because then, and my brother, who's a pediatrician, said this, then it's the timer that's setting the restriction, not you. We've used it for years. Okay. So we we so often we need someone to help us elevate above our own perspective because we're in the middle. We're swimming around in the day to day and we can't see what becomes so obvious when we talk to someone else who's outside of it. So sometimes we don't know what to do, okay? Sometimes we know what to do, but our hearts fail us. We need that courage. I think about Aaron during, I forget who the Israelites were battling, but it was like the first battle when they were leaving Egypt and they were kind of navigating to the promised land. And as they're fighting the enemy, when Moses's hands were up, they were winning. And then when he dropped his hands, they would start losing. And Aaron and Hur, H-U-R, Aaron and Hur would have to hold his arms. We need someone to hold our arms. It's not that we can't do it. It's that we need that encouragement from a fellow sojourner who can say, I know you have this in you. I've seen this in you. If you don't do it, the world will be the worse for it, right? We need that. We need the encouragement piece. And then sometimes we're in the place that Paul is coming from in 2 Timothy. We just need someone to hold the space for the pain. Just be here. Sometimes there's not even something we need to do. It already happened. And now we've got these pieces all around us. We need someone to sit with us while we pick them up. I've talked about this before in the episode with Jody Snowden, which is so good about grief. This beautiful book called The Rabbit Listened talks all about how to be there for someone in their sorrows, to be present, give them room to laugh, give them room to cry, to remember, and then when they're ready, to rebuild. Sometimes we just need someone to hold the space. Last year was a rough year for me, and I had so many precious friends over the course of the recovery period from the hard speak life and sit beside me. There wasn't anywhere to go. I wasn't going anywhere. It actually laid a lot down so that I had some room to heal. And in the quiet, in some ways it was even harder because when you're moving, it's like, okay, well, I just got to get up and we got to continue on with the thing. But I'd laid a lot down. And it's like, well, now what? And then I got to reckon the thing out. That moment, it's just so the need of it. Do your best to come before winter, Paul says to Timothy. That dependence that we have on one another. Sometimes we just need someone, again, we need someone with skin on. So I think I'm keeping it kind of short today. Can you believe it? Keep it kind of short today. We'll keep the conversation kind of simple. Here's where we are. I've realized, so way back when this podcast began, I was actively coaching and I was available to coach people one-on-one. And then there was kind of this arc where I was doing some other work, and then I kind of quieted everything down and was just focused on our family most of last year. Now, starting this week, starting today, I'm taking one-on-one clients again. And I've cut prices actually because I was like, I need this to be accessible for my people. I need this to feel like something that you guys can connect with. And part of the beauty of this, and this shout out to anybody who's thinking about building a business, I finally learned a thing or two. I had a website, I shut it down. I quieted a lot of like the bells and whistles that made it look like I was super professional and all of that. So there's not so much overhead. So I'm like, okay, we can literally just open up the phone lines and just say, here's the deal. There are so many moments in our lives where we just need somebody with skin on. We need someone to hold the other side. And what I realized is here I am talking to you guys and I'm giving you a lot of ideas. You can do this, and here's this, and belonging, and stewardship, and courage, and all of these different ways to walk more faithfully. But if there's no one there to hold up the other side, yes, we grow with the Lord, and He leads and guides us, and that is a beautiful thing. But He said in the garden, when all was perfect, it is not good for man to be alone. Now, He specifically meant that as like the next result of that was husband and wife. But it didn't stop there. Beyond that came children and siblings for those children and community and cities and cultures and all of these things. It doesn't stop there. Yes, we need our spouse. That's such a key relationship, but we were made for community with one another in all kinds of avenues. And so if you need someone to hold some space for you, I've been trained as a coach, but I also bring in my lawyer background. And so actually, it was funny when I was writing my notes for this, I'm like, oh, it's kind of all the things that I'm good at. The what to do. If you're sitting there and you're seeing a big snarl and you're like, I don't know what the next step is. I don't know whether I'm supposed to work in this season, stay home with my children. I don't know whether I stay at the job that I have or if I go and look for something else. I don't know if I stay in the location I am. I don't know how to work through this issue, this relational issue. I'm not really sure how to handle this financial consideration. I was trained as a corporate lawyer. I helped women build businesses through direct sales and other mediums for years. I worked with high-level entrepreneurs. So I can do strategic. It's really like I'm like this is kind of my jam because I can see the tangle from a different angle. And so often what happens is I just mirror back the things I hear you saying. And it's so beautiful because it's already yours. You already know in some level, but it sometimes takes an outside perspective to go, no, yeah, I hear this. Like, how does it land for you? Because this is what I hear you saying, and I see you light up when you talk about it. And friend, like, sometimes it's just a relief to know, okay, now I know what direction I'm going. But so often with strategic focused coaching, it's more money in your pocket. It's more time on your calendar. It's a more peaceful life because you're operating in alignment. So we can go there. Okay. And we can take it wherever. One of my favorite things to help people build is systems and rhythms around time with the Lord. Oh, may we just start there. How can we make it just unmissable? Every morning, while it's still dark, we wake up and go spend time with Him. So we can go strategic. Or there's that place where our hearts are failing. We need a little courage, a shot of courage. Love that's a country song. Take another shot of courage. I don't remember what it was. Is that the Eagles? Oh, bless. You know, you can send me a message and tell me. Okay. So we need that encouragement. We need someone to stand alongside and say, yeah, you've got this, which is my spiritual gift. I see it in you. I see how He made you, and it's good. It was for a purpose. It's for such a time as this. All of that encouragement, I've got it for you. So if you need someone to walk alongside you while you do some brave things, I've got you there. And then lastly, holding space. My coach says, you can't give what you don't have. You can't receive what you haven't been given. It takes one who's walked through grief, humiliation, loss, burdens, just malaise, right? You ever just feel some malaise like, ugh, I'm thinking, how do I describe that? That's how that just that feeling. It would be my privilege to hold the space with you. You may not know my whole story, but I've been a few of those places. And I've got you. So if you just need a little something, maybe you're not even sure. Maybe you're just like, I just don't, I Something's off. I don't even know where to start. We can do that too. We can have one call, we can have 100 calls, whatever you want. I'm doing it super flexible. I'm doing it to work with you where it feels financially feasible. It feels feasible from a timing standpoint. So if you're feeling like, yeah, I think it's time, then reach out. Just for fun. I'm kind of just coming up with this live because I just love the idea of doing a little something to bless you. If this resonates with you, here's what's going to happen. You can reach out to me directly, use the social media channels. I've got my phone number in the show notes as well. Or you can book a 15-minute kind of curiosity call. The link to that will be in the show notes as well. When you do it in the next week. So this is landing on March 26th. So you do it before the following week, which will be April something. I think it's like the 2nd. And you mention this podcast episode, then you get half off your first coaching session if you decide that this is something you want to pursue. Okay? So that's what we're doing. This has been kind of roiling in my brain for a few months of like, it's time to get back to coaching. It's time to get back to serving the people. And just like you, I needed to connect with my friends and them to say, yeah, Anna, you love coaching. It's your favorite. You've been doing this forever. Just open the door and let the Lord do what he's going to do with it. So I'm excited to connect with you, to get voice to voice. Grab the link or send me a message. I'll give you all the details. And the call that you would book, it's just a 15-minute exploratory call. I answer all your questions. I let you know, what it looks like to coach with me, and you can let me know if you're interested or not. We'll get something on the calendar. In the meantime, I'll keep coming in here, giving you everything I can to support you in belonging with and to the Father, belonging with other people, walking in courage, and stewarding well the gifts that He's given you. Okay? All right, friend. You know the drill. As always, and I truly do mean this, you have got this. You've got this all the way through because He is holding you today. Okay.
Friend, thank you so much for listening to this most recent episode of Overwhelmed to Overcomer. So listen, the whole idea behind this mission is that when we endeavor to be brave with our lives, we need to do it together. Belonging is key. So if you resonated with the message from this episode, share it with a friend. Do it together. Thank you again, and never forget, you've got this because He's got you.